today's a great freaking day. I'm really excited. You know, let's just say we're installing a brand new, not released product, not available, at least not at the time of filming. Hope that doesn't become anticlimactic, but we'll find out. Just hang on. It's freaking sweet. So some of y'all have been watching along and all that stuff and watched me rebuild my 2016 Road Glide that I affectionately refer to as the douchebagger from a black on black bike with bad dad parts that were fiberglass and some questionable assembly approaches and some other stuff to a whole new body from Advan Black in the 2022 color available on Harleys now called Reef Blue. The difference is mine is solid Reef Blue. The Road Glide specials you buy today that are Reef Blue or Reef Blue and Black. They're two-tone. So, I'll show you the bike real quick, and then we'll get to what I'm really excited about. I mean, this is... duplicative isn't even the word. You've seen this a billion times. So, that's Reef Blue. Okay, you can't see it because of the sun. So, we changed the whole body to that color, all right? Looks awesome, da-da-da. One of the things I hate about this bike, and have hated it from the beginning, you guys know it, is I hate that Lindby bar, that Lindby crash bar. All right? If it's your thing, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, piss anyone off, but a couple things I don't like about it. A, that is not a useful highway spot where they put those rubber bands. That doesn't work. I'm not going to sit like I'm in freaking labor having given birth to a baby. Other thing is, the shape of it is really way too close to the floorboards, even though it just barely fits. What else? I'm just not a fan of the shape. I know what they're trying to do. You see these bikes where they try and do the mustache style curved up kind of thing, so that's the trend. I just don't like it. It's just preference. I'm sorry, don't give out on the shape. I just don't like it. The thing I really don't like it, and I cannot believe they did this, is whatever shop originally built this bike, the Lindby bar doesn't have a place for the lower supports from the fairing to come down and grab onto, so they just eliminated them. So this bike is rolling around with no lower supports holding the fairing to the crash bar. Nothing. There are 4 bolts deep inside the fairing. That's all that's holding the fairing onto the bike. Now, they're 4 big bolts, and they're through a metal plate, and there's a subframe inside there and all that stuff. But still, there are 4 bolts, no lower supports, and that's why I get a lot of movement out of the fairing at idle, because it is a stage 5 motor, so there's a lot of vibration. Anyway, so nothing I hate, no support for the fairing. So today... not today, actually, the other day, UPS just shows up. And they give me 2 boxes. And I opened the first box, and I'm like, ooh, I had heard, I hear rumblings. I'm not an employee of the company, so I don't know what they're developing or what's in the pipeline. But I'd heard rumblings from my buddy who's the CEO and for my buddy Steve over at Sick Baggers. If you don't subscribe to his channel, you should, because he actually knows what he's talking about. I'm just an idiot. So Sick Baggers, Steve is an employee of Advan. So I hear every once in a while some stuff here and there of what they're working on. And one of the things I had heard of but had not seen yet was the modern special style crash bar. So this is a similar shape to the crash bar that comes on a special, which is now normal, normal to Street Glide and Road Glide specials, but used to be the CVO crash bar, if you remember correctly. So, right? So that crash bar there used to be the CVO style, and now it just comes on all the Street Glide specials and Road Glide specials. So in the first box was that. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm so excited. I get to trash the Lindby bar. Before you ask, it's scratched up. It's not in very good shape. So no, it's going in the trash. The second thing that showed up, which I haven't even completely unwrapped, but I now know what it is by starting to take the packaging off, is that lower fang fairing. So Advan is coming out with this. Well, a version of this, which is the lower fairing that was CVO specific, and it's called the fang fairing. That's what they call that, a fang. So it has, those wind guards there, but they're integrated into a painted to match lower fang fairing that extends the fairing down. That's Sturgis buffalo chip dirt. And then goes all the way down and wraps around the oil cooler. So, and then sort of integrates with that mustache style, special style crash bar. It showed up. It was in Reef Blue. It's in the house. I'm so freaking excited. That's going to look so amazing to add. I mean, I like this lower fairing here, this sort of chin spoiler. That's the downside is that's brand new and has to come off. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. My buddy says, hold on to it. If you ever want to put lowers on the bike, you have to change crash bar again, then you would have, so I'll probably just hang it on the wall, but that's a nice piece. That's their current chin spoiler that works on 16 and down bikes. This is a 2016. So 16 and down bikes. If you have a 17 and up, then you have a different setup. But so anyway, so I get to ditch the Lindby bar first, take off that nice new chin spoiler and hang it somewhere on the Hall of Fame, the Wall of Fame of parts, I guess. And then mount up the new crash bar setup and then mount the new painted lower fang fairing. So that's going to be freaking slick. So first step is 2 Torx bolts out of the bottom there. And then, what do I got here? Something up top that I got to find. And now I'll ditch that Lindby bar and then we can start mounting up the new one. Well, I'm already insanely happy. So all I've done so far is I ditched the Lindby bar, right? So there's 2 screws, 7mm screws that go through the frame into the chin spoiler. If you don't have that, it's a non-issue. Take those out, that's it, comes away, no problem. The Lindby bar bolted on up here with a single Allen bolt, and then of course uses the stock locations there. It was a bit tweaked, if I'm honest, because once I pulled one of those out, it went punk, and it was like, the bike hadn't been down, but I don't know, it just wasn't very straight. So I took the new, what are you going to call it, Road Glide Special style bar, offered it up, finger tightened the 2 lowers, and then what happens there is you got a bracket that hangs down and 2 Allen bolts go through the bracket into the frame. The frame is threaded. So, at least on this 16, I can't really see in there, but there's a threaded plate, so the bolt just goes through. So it's really easy to put that thing on. You got 4 bolts. What you do when you start that up, I don't know, this is a prototype, so I'm not sure, but the bracket kind of hangs back from the bike. You put the bolts through and get them started with your fingers, and when you crank them down, it brings the bracket in. So if you get one of these later and it's like that, don't freak out. Next thing is the fairing support. I got to look at there's no printed directions. These are your directions. Not really. Advan does professional videos. Actually, Steve from Sickbaggers does them. So I would rely on them if you have any technical questions, but I have no instructions. Every time I get an Advan part, because they're all new and straight from the factory, it's just a part. So, and then, there's a website full of videos. But on this new product, no instructions, which is fine because instructions are for losers, right? Yeah. Not really. So I'm gonna look at the fairing support and the fang fairing and kind of see, can I put the fairing support on and then the fang fairing? Is it all part of the same process? No matter what, I'm 99.999% sure that the outer fairing cap has to come off to do this. I'm pretty sure. I'm to the point where I should probably just do it, which is fine because I noticed when I was going on the road the other day with the stereo and this thing, speakers are backwards. So I got to unplug speakers, plug exactly what I said when I was talking about the fairing swap. The only thing you do is put the speakers backwards. I did that. So I got to go ning, ning, and switchy, which that looks like all right, never mind. Yeah, let me get into that. I'll be back in a minute. Wah, 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 wah. Crash bar's great and gonna be great. I'll finish that up in a minute. This is a no-go. I was just offered, this is the lower part, right? So if you've ever seen one of these on a CVO, there's a lower part and then 2 pieces that go up the side. At least that's how Advan does it. They break it into 3 pieces. This goes around the oil cooler in the front, and there's 2 long stretches that go up and replace your little. I'll just show you. There's a long piece that goes up and replaces your little vent there on the side. That is your new vent right there. Looks really cool. Well, the issue is the part I showed you first. The configuration of the oil cooler is different on a Milwaukee 8 than it is on a twin cam. Milwaukee 8, it's down. It's not down low, but it's down and presented straight forward behind the front tire. Like, shoo, why am I doing this to the camera? Shoo. On a twin cam, it's down lower and angled so that air kind of bounces off the ground and goes up to the oil cooler. That lower bit that I showed you first doesn't fit a twin cam oil cooler. So, again, this is an experimental part. I don't know if they just sent me the wrong one maybe, or if they're not going to make it for twin cam and there was just a translation issue as far as understanding that my bike, though it is a modern frame, 2016 is the is the new frame. It's the old motor. And so some things are going to be a little different. So that might be the problem. So I'm just going to keep cracking on with the crash bar until I hear back. And maybe even before the end of this video, I might find out that, oh no, just a shipping mistake. We'll send you the new correct lower piece. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think I'm going to hear that, yeah, it's for Milwaukee 8. Didn't think of that. No go. But I'm going to go ahead and finish the crash bar because that already looks a hell of a lot better. And I'll actually have some support for the fairing, which is nice. That's good. It rained. So now it's 400% humidity. But it's fine. It cooled it off. I'm not going to complain, you know, because I don't want to give a shit if I did. So I did get confirmation on something that, not the end of the world. The fang fairing, which I showed, awesome. It's not going to fit the douchebagger because there's a difference in the oil cooler and the voltage regulator on a twin cam as there is on a Milwaukee 8, and didn't know that, or at least they, you know, the team that designs these didn't know that. So when I got it, they were like, "Oh, it's, you know, it's a 16, it's the same frame." That one little difference is right up front at the bottom. Well, it's a major difference because they have a different engine. But at the bottom, lower, the voltage regulator sits at a different angle, and the oil cooler sits at a different angle on a twin cam as it does on a Milwaukee 8. So, no go, ain't gonna work. So, not a big deal because I still get the crash bar and the upper support that I needed under the fairing. Now, the old chin spoiler, I could cut it and make it fit around the new crash bar because it attaches at a different spot. But that's probably actually, no, it uses those mounting points. All right, so there will be no chin spoiler or fang fairing on this guy. You just can't. Not the end of the world. But I still want to see that fang fairing installed. My buddy's got a blue and black 22 Road Glide. Joe, you saw in a video. If we can get one of those in black, maybe we'll do that whenever that's available. Because again, this is prototype stuff. It's not ready, and I would be, my bike, it's one thing, but a buddy's bike that's brand new, I just don't know if it's, looks vinyl to me though. I mean, it looks perfect. Whatever. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. So what I'm going to do now is just button up this new crash bar, because essentially still what this means is if you have a 2014 or later bike, you can ditch the old big crash bar. Or, what am I thinking? Not just 14 and later. If you have a 20, actually anything, 14 and later, the regular Road Glide and regular Street Glide, even today, not the special, the regular Street Glide and Road Glide, still have the big, you know, giant crash bar. You can take that off with this kit and put one on yours. They have it in black or chrome. So I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about. You don't know. There it is. So it's on the bike. The lower half is done and tight and ready to go. The upper half essentially attaches there. And then the, I'm making a mess. The turn signal bolts go through this bracket and into the inner fairing so that it'll, you know, firm it up nice, which is good. Another thing that's got me, you know, the opportunity to do is fix that wiring I had with the stereo and check. Turned out I had a dead rear speaker because one of the wires had pulled out of one of the harness plugs on the, you see the weirdest stuff in this subdivision. One of the wires had pulled out of the rear plug, so I was able to fix that. So I'm going to button this wiring back up, put that back on, and at least we'll have the crash bar lined out because I hated the Lindby bar. It's gone. I'm happy. So it's the next day now. We did the live last night, and shockingly, I feel okay. Like, I thought for sure I was going to need a hospital bed for a couple days after all the fireball and the bullet bourbon and all that stuff. But I feel fine, shockingly. The wife has got the worst cold ever and can't speak, which isn't always a bad thing. I said that on video. But, you know, that's a thing. My daughter is in her room listening to her music, and both of them have told me to leave them alone. Labor Day weekend, and I've just been told to go away. So, I'm going to come out here and finish up this video about the crash bar because though I can't use the fang fairing, I think I covered that in the earlier video, that it doesn't fit. This part doesn't fit because it's for Milwaukee 8. Also, it really, I was going through this, it really, the one I have here in my hand, that's blue, because it's blue, it won't work on even a friend's bike, who is, his is reef blue, because his bike is reef blue and black. It's black on the lower half, and the reef blue fang fairing would look weird, because it should be black down there, because the bottom half of the motorcycle is black. You know what I mean? So you need the modern special crash bar and all that stuff. But anyway, to make a short story very long, as I'm criticized for all the time, this crash bar is a very cool upgrade. So if you have the big giant wide crash bar, I don't have anything that has it on, you can convert that to the modern special style crash bar with this, as I just showed you how. Or even going back to a twin cam before this even came out, because my bike, being a 16 and a twin cam, has the modern special crash bar, which I think is pretty cool. It's another one of those factors where people are going to see this bike at an event and go, the fuck is that? Like, it's got a twin cam, but that's a new, what is happening? Like, I like that. They're going to look at it and not know what the hell it is. So this crash bar, I'll show you real quick. It's all done. Bam. Someone asked about this gap. And there, yeah, see those wind dams? That is supposed to be there. So yeah, it's pretty cool because you actually get a little more air, and yet these little teeth there prevent there from being a whistle. So somebody asked about that the other day, but yeah, that is supposed to be there. I don't know if another windshield would do it, or if it would sit flat, but that one does. That's what the one was on it, and I don't think I'm going to change it. You know, but anyway, there it is. The modern Street Glide, Road Glide special crash bar installed on a 2016 motorcycle. So essentially the sort of bracket here slips up under and a bolt goes through, then a nut and bolt on the bottom, and then it goes up under the fairing here, and the bolt that goes through the turn signal goes through the bracket into the fairing. So you still have a support. Now this bike, I've said this a million times in videos, so I apologize for repeating myself, it had the supports eliminated. So I'm glad. I think it's cool that it's got some extra support now too. If you are just obsessed with having your fairing only being held on with 4 bolts, you don't have to put that on. It's not part of that. You know what I'm saying? They're 2 separate pieces. So if you really didn't want that bar there, you could not put it on. But for me, I'd rather have my fairing properly attached to the motorcycle. Call me crazy. So there it is. It's not hard. I mean, it's more like than other things because you're kind of just jamming that sucker in there to make it fit. And that. So it's not hard. It's just, you know, you're going to have to work at it a little bit. But the mounting holes are all there on the bike. It's not like you're going to be doing anything stupid. Let me level the bike down so you can see it. Okay, there. So I did the whole thing. Put it down on the center stand so you can see. There we go. Modern crash bar on an older bike. So this I don't think is available yet. It will be very soon, but not yet. I also have it on good authority that this whole body swap kit, it's going to be available soon, including available soon too. Maybe I am hungover. Including the outer fairing. So watch for that. They'll let me know the particulars and then I'll put it out. But yeah, pretty soon you're going to be able to buy a whole new body for your bike. So start getting excited if you want to make your bike some horrible green they made in 2017. Teach their own, right? So, love y'all to death out there. Comment down below what you think. What else should I do to this thing? By my estimation, I know, are they ever done? Yeah, I think this one's done. I don't know what, I mean, there's some little lighting stuff. I've thought about doing the headlight swap just to do a comparison, you know, to like the Advan Black Attack headlight that's on here and like the more like old school Custom Dynamics headlight. I mean, if they would, you know, provide one. That might be interesting just to see. What I've said before, it's preference. It is just preference on look, but like, what do you think? That kind of thing. Maybe we'll do something like that if they'd want to play. I don't know, but that's it. What else should I do to this bike? Change something. I am maybe going to make a bar change. That could be fun. We'll see, because it's not really an easy thing to get what I want, so we shall see. But love y'all to death. Take care of each other. We'll talk real soon. Bye.